Hello there, it's Paul here and welcome along everyone. It's Friday evening, nearly 9 o'clock at night. I've just been out gluing up a few segments and whatever, and it's back to the pen kits for a change. I've been ordering quite a few pen kits from Taylor's Murfield in the past, and this time I've tried to go for something a little bit different, just to try a different style of pens. And this time I've gone to Pen Kits Direct, and the first thing I've got to say is their website is probably one of the best ones I've found for pens. If we look here on what I've got laid out, basically I've ordered 3 of the Junior Gentleman's Rollables. I've gone for it's a 12 karat gold, chrome, and this one's a gunmetal. And I've also gone for the Manhattan Rollable pen kit. That's a 24 karat gold, and also the more expensive Oxford Rollable pen kit. The other good thing about their website is that they've got all the instructions for all the pens everywhere, and I bought all the kits with the required bushings, and then yesterday I went back onto their website and printed out their instructions. And as you'll see here, they all come on a standard 1 A4 sheet, and they're fairly well detailed. So what I've decided to go for, because I've got a chrome on the Oxford, gold with the Manhattan, I'm going to go for the gunmetal on the beginners, and I'll leave the chrome and the gold for another time, so I'll put those to one side. I also bought a drill bit as well, because I needed it for one of the pen kits. 13/32 of an inch, which is 10.3mm. And what I've decided, I'm going to go for 3 different types of wood. So I've just basically dug out a piece of oak. I've got a bit of sapele there. At the same time, if you've probably seen on some of my previous videos, we originally thought this was oak, but everybody seems to think it's teak. So I will use a chunk of that, another piece of the door frame, to use on one of the other kits. Right, so I just cut all the pen blanks, and the other thing I forgot to mention as well was Pen Kits Direct delivery was brilliant and a really good price. I think I paid about £2.50 for carriage, and they either turned up the following day or within 2 days, so you couldn't really ask for much more. You can see here I've got all the pen blanks done. Now the Junior Gentleman's kit is actually a 2-piece one. The Manhattan is just a 1-piece, has a nice gold lid, and also the Oxford pen has a black lid, which I'm doing with the teak. This is also the first pen kit I've had, whereas you can see there the tube has already been scuffed up, and that is really nicely scuffed up. It has a lot of good grooves on there. So I'm gonna do this off camera. I'll just basically scuff up these tubes. I'll get these drilled out, and I'm probably going to do them on my drill press, and then I'll come back when I do the glue up. So blanks are all drilled now, and they've just got to be glued in, and I'm basically going for the 30-minute epoxy, so it gives me plenty of time just to work with these, and that way, I'm going to leave them overnight at least anyway before I turn them, so I have plenty of time to set. Now I did find as well, all these drilled really nicely, all just got a nice smooth action through them. The only one I had a problem with is this one is actually a little bit tight, and I've got it better than what it was, but it was rather tight. So I've got the epoxy mixed up, so a good mix, equal amounts. Now I prefer to use epoxy now, purely simply because I don't think CA gives such a good hold. CA is quite a hard, brittle glue, and anything abrupt on the movement I find tends to snap the gluing. What I tend to do, I tend to just half fill the tube with the resin, with the epoxy. Run it in from one end first, just to try and get it down there. So those are all glued up now, and what I've done, I've just basically left them on a piece of kitchen towel, because there will be bits of glue run off there, and it's going to be far easier just to rip them off the kitchen towel than them being stuck to a piece of wood. Just one tip as well, I mean, mixing up your epoxy and everything, just what was left over on a piece of work, just cupped out the bottom, and then you've got an ideal little glue pot. When you're finished, all I've done is I've wiped that out with kitchen towel, and when that's fully dried, it will be useful, be ready to use again. So I'll leave these now overnight. So the blanks are now all prepared for the 3 pens. I'm going to start off with the Junior Gentleman's Kit, which is the one with the 2 blanks, and that's the one with oak. That's also the kit with the gunmetal finish. And I'm going to basically, these days I just use the roughing gouge just to take them down to the rough size to start with, and I'll finish them off with the Scoob. Starting off with the oak here, and I'm just going to, like I say, rough this down. The laver's probably running at about half speed, so we're only about 1000 RPM. I haven't over tightened this either, so at least it shouldn't bow too much. And what I'll do is, if I start finding these start slipping, then I'll probably just tighten this up by a quarter or a half a turn at a time. And you'll probably notice there, I'm actually just supporting this. I mean, there's not much movement in there, but it just seems to cut a little bit better. And you'll notice as well, you get these little darker pieces as you sand, and that's just basically where obviously things haven't come out totally level. And then at the end of each grit, you just need to go up and down the grain. Just helps remove any of those scratches. Okay, I'll carry on through the grits and I'll come back in a minute. This has now been sanded to 600, and I don't know whether it actually shows up on the camera there, but inside the grain here there's actually a slight blue tinge, and that's basically, I think, come off the sandpaper. So I don't normally do this with pens, but what I'm going to do, I'm just going to give it a clean up with some methylated spirits, or as you call it across the pond, denatured alcohol. So it shouldn't need too much. Right, so that's all cleaned up nicely. I'm going to try something a little bit different with my finishing off this time. Normally I'll usually put thin CA on, about 8 coats, and then sand down with some wet and dry 1200, probably a couple of times through. But what I'm going to do this time, I'm going to actually start off with some medium CA so I can get some thicker coats on there to start with. Then at least that way the sanding is only going to take smaller pieces off. I also have some 2000 and 3000 grit papers as well, which I'm probably never going to use on the bowl sander, so I'm going to take it up to about 3000. So that's had 3 coats of the medium. I've certainly got some ridges in there. So now I'm going to sand that down with the 1200. So this time I'm going to sand back with some 2000 grit. Just to help reduce any scratches in there. And a bit of 3000. Right, the final polish off with my T-cut, as I usually do. Right, one pen finished. Now, one good thing I did find in the instructions for this pen kit was obviously so you can still make sure you line up your grain properly, especially since I'm not going to do these straight away. Was on the bits that join each other, just put a mark on the inside. I know that that's the bit. That's that one. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go and turn the other two blanks now. If there's anything interesting for me to cover, then I will stop and do a little bit extra on the video, and if not, I'll come back when I'm going to assemble the pens. Now all the pens are turned now, so this is the Junior Gentleman's Rollable. That's for the Oxford one, so that's teak. And the strange thing is that I thought I picked up a piece of sapele, and to me that doesn't look like sapele. That looks more like a Rocco. So that's what I'm going to have to go with. Now it's important at this stage, unless you've done them all before, have the instructions. It's so easy to get these round the wrong way, or find out you're missing something and it's too late. And I use my lathe for this. It's an ideal thing. Acts as a brilliant press. And just make sure you've got these lined up properly when you put them in, because if they go off at an angle, they will ruin the tube. And there's the first bit on, and it's a perfect fit. Now the thing was with this bit was I couldn't find this. It's basically because it was screwed on here. So again, that's why the instructions are important. So again, just make sure that they're straight when they're going in. In actual fact, that looks quite nice, gunmetal with the oak. And when you put the clip on, you can then decide whereabouts you want it to hide up. And that's it. That actually looks quite nice. I'm quite impressed with that. So it's a bag of mixed feelings on these pens, and probably the most important one, which I'll cover first, which is the last pen I made and assembled, is the Oxford one. And I've got to say, firstly, I probably don't really like it so much because there's just so much black in it. Chrome or gold, I don't think would have made any difference. Would a lighter wood work better? I'm not sure. But the most important thing is that when I was putting this together, is that there's no tip. Now, you could probably say it's out of their control, because these just come bagged in probably from their supplier, wherever they buy them from, and they just ship them out without actually checking all the bags. But there was an extra set of couplings in there, so somewhere along the line somebody has put in, just randomly thrown the bags in and put two of these in instead of the tips. So it's the weekend, I've messaged them on their website, sent a photo, with that and the instructions that came with it, and it's probably really important now as to how well they come back with their customer service, which to me is more key than obviously a missing piece, because it could really probably happen to anybody. So the first pen I made was actually the Junior Gentleman's Rollable in gunmetal. I've done this with oak. Messed up a little bit myself, because usually when I assemble these I will screw this bottom section into the tip here and then line up where my grain needs to go first before I then put it together. So I'm probably about, maybe at the most, a quarter of a turn out with my grain alignment up, and it's really annoying, silly mistake. And that being with oak, I've got to say, is really nice. The quality, the tip here is a nice metal finish as well, which does work really well. It feels comfortable to hold. So to me, this was the cheapest pen, and I've got to say it's probably the best quality pen out of the lot that I've turned. Now the other pen I turned was the Manhattan, and I think this is a 24 karat gold rather than the cheaper 12 karat gold. I think it was about £7.50 as well, and that's the final result. Now, my mistake here, because that was supposed to have been sapele. I honestly thought I picked up a piece of sapele. That is the piece that I started off with, and I just thought that just looks sapele colour, even from the back side. But when you cut into it, and let's say I should have really picked it up at that point, that is definitely not sapele. I probably think it's a Roco. So I think with this one, it's just a choice of the colour. To me, it's just too light to mix in with the gold. It really did need something contrasting, and I think that's where the sapele would have worked best. But for this one, the only disappointing thing is you can't really put the cap anywhere. I can just see that somebody will try and push that on there, and it will wreck the threads inside. This is also a plastic body on the nib here, and because it's plastic, it's two joint halves of plastic, and where the actual join is, it's very, very minor. You get a little bit of catching there, so it's not too bad, but it's just the little details to annoy them. Again, very, very comfortable to hold. Would I want one? I think if I'd have done the darker colour on there, I'd like it a lot more, but as it is, I'm just not a lover of it. But of course, they're just my opinions on the pens. We all have different likes. So if this is your first time here, please do subscribe and hit the little bell button. At least that way you'll get notified every time I upload a video. For my existing subscribers, again, a big, big thank you so much for keep coming back and supporting me. It's so much appreciated. And I'd appreciate it if everybody could hit the share button, hit the like button, and please do leave a comment below. Let me know what you think of the pens. Have you had any dealings with pen kits direct? So thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you on the next project video. Bye.